Alright, so you're about ready to upgrade your mulch to Blue Mulch, but you don't exactly know how to get the HDPE pellets. Well, in this video, we'll be making the system to make just that. This system I'll be showing you will get you the biofuel, the substrate, and the HDPE pellets, along with the rods and sheets. So it gets you most of everything you need. Though still, for some of the mulches, you need fertilizer and blue slime crystals and withered dust. But this machine gets you most of the way there. These are the machines you're going to need. The crafting recipes can be quite intense, but as long as you have a good supply of materials from your bonsai farms, you should be fine. First, what you're going to need is an infuser. This machine isn't actually in the mulch making process, though this machine is actually what you use to get most of the materials for these machines. And that's just simply 4 iron around the corners, 2 redstone dust left and right, 2 furnaces on the top and bottom, and an osmium ingot. You're also going to need a lot of osmium for these machines as well, so make sure you get a good supply of that. The first machine you're going to need is a crusher. This is for the biofuel, which is what you're going to need for the yellow mulch. And to make that, that's just 4 redstone on the corners, 2 lava buckets on the left and right side, a steel casting in the center, and on the top and bottom is basic control circuits, which you can get from the infuser. I won't go into the deep recipes for this. This video is just going to be mainly for the building process, but as long as you have the materials, it should be fine. It's just a little tedious to make a few of these, like the steel casting. You're actually going to need 2 pressurized reaction chambers, and that's just 2 steel ingots on the top left and top right, an enriched alloy from the infuser once again, 2 control circuits on the left and right side, an enrichment chamber, which is a very similar recipe to the crusher, 2 basic gas tanks on the bottom left and right side, and a dynamic tank on the bottom center. You're also going to need a separator, which is 4 iron around the corners, 2 redstone on the top and bottom, 2 enriched alloys on the left and right side, and a whatever this is called core, which is just a lot of pulverized gold, iron, and osmium, and more enriched alloys. You can get a lot of your pulverized materials from a manufactory from Nuclear Craft as well. That's a pretty useful machine for a lot of this stuff. This video, the machine I'll be making, I'll be using a lot of pressurized tubes as well. Though of course, if you want to make it compact, you don't actually need the tubes. Just for the explaining sake, I'll be expanding it out and using the cables. So I'll be using advanced pressurized cables, which is made from pressurized tubes, which is very simple to make. It's just steel and glass and an enriched alloy in the center. And the last thing you're going to need is a condensator. I hope I said that right. These names are very intense. That is just 4 glass on the corners, control circuits on the top and bottom, a basic gas tank on the left side, a basic fluid tank on the right side, and a energy tablet in the center. Now, to build this, you're obviously going to need a power source. I'm just using a mineral battery. First, what you're going to need is your crusher. I like to put saplings in the crusher, just simply because you get a lot of saplings from your mulch farms. And that'll get you biofuel right away. That is your yellow mulch. So that's really simple. Off of the back of the crusher, you're going to want an item extraction cable, or any kind of item cable. Off the back of that, make sure as well in the side config, on the back side you put output as well. The next thing you want is one of your pressurized reaction chambers. Just place it on the back just like so. And once again, remember, on every machine you make sure to set your side configs to make sure the input is correct. This is already pre-filled because I was testing this beforehand, but we're also going to need hydrogen and water. So you can either make just a standard infinite water source or an infinite water source block. These are quite useful actually. I use these quite a lot. And that is just basic plating, which is made by graphite dust, lead, and 2 water buckets and tin. Though that's kind of annoying to make, so you can also just make a water source like this and have a fluid extraction cable right off of that. That also works. This is also just for condensing sakes. So a water source just like so. You need 2 fluid extraction cables on the left and right side. And you can pipe one just straight into the system like so. That will get you your water supply. The next thing you want for your hydrogen is your separator. So you can place that down there and have your water input from the back. As soon as you get power to this as well, you're gonna notice you get hydrogen and oxygen, which both of those you're actually gonna need. So the hydrogen, I actually placed this wrong. You want to place this backwards. So what this does when you place it backwards on the, technically the left side, you would get your hydrogen. On the right side, you get your oxygen. So you want to put your hydrogen input into your pressurized reaction chamber, and you should be able to get your substrate and a byproduct of ethylene, which is another thing you're actually going to need. The oxygen we're going to save for later. That is for another machine later on. This machining is pretty spread out. I'm just putting these cables in just for you can see what's going on, but you can actually put this machine side by side and it would still work. The next thing you want is your condensator. And what this is gonna do is gonna swap your ethylene gas to fluid ethylene. So for this one, it is a gas cable. This confused me quite a bit as well. You have to set your gas to eject on and make sure the side is also an output. Once that happens, you should notice your ethylene in your condensator, and it should be condensing into liquid ethylene. After that, you need your second pressurized reaction chamber. And instead of a gas cable, you're actually going to need a fluid extraction cable because now it's liquid ethylene, right? And you can pump that straight into your reaction chamber. And once again, I cannot emphasize this enough. Make sure you have your side configs correct. So you go to fluids here, make sure it is fluid yellow on the side that you're importing your fluids from. This is very important because otherwise your system wouldn't run at all. The next thing you want is your substrate from your first pressurized reaction chamber. You can pipe that in any way you want. I will just bring it off the top here, just like so. And there you have your substrate in there. Next is the oxygen, which also comes from your separator that you first made. And I will just loosely pipe this over here. You can make a whole second separator just for the oxygen over here to make it more condensed. But for cost effectiveness, I just piped this straight in from the first one. Once you pipe that in, it should be good to go. That as well, make sure you go to your gases and make sure you have the gas on dark red on the back side. I'll mention this every time. Make sure you have your side configs correct because it will not work otherwise. But anyways, after you have that, you should be getting your HDPE pellets. And just like that, you have, I believe it's like 3 or 4 different materials you need for making all of your mulches. On the system that I used, I have a chest for each each item that I need. So whenever this fills up with pellets, this chest will fill up with the substrate, in which this chest will fill up with the biofuel. So that alone is 3 materials, and the HDPE pellets make the rods and the sheets as well. So that alone, with this machine setup, is 5 materials that you're gonna need for eventually getting your blue mulch. And yeah, that's about all. One thing that I will mention as a little extra, you can actually use the hydrogen that you get from the separator to make a really good source of power. I know someone in the comments beforehand asked how I got a lot of power in my factory. It is simply, I actually have 2 separators here for just the hydrogen, and that pumps into a gas burning generator, and that produces so much power. I have a battery here with 56 million RF or FE, and this one machine powers basically my entire factory. So it's actually pretty good. And of course, this is expandable as well. I only have 1 machine. But yeah, that's about all for the HDPE pellet making process. I will give a big thanks to Bear FM 5897 for actually giving me this video idea. So yeah, big shout out to them. If you were wondering how I made a few other systems that I have in this Sky Factory, like the mulch farm that I have here, the smeltery, or the storage system that I have down here, all those links will be down in the description below. If you're also wondering why this mountain says 200 days, that's because I actually have a 100 days video all about this Sky Factory island and a 200 days video coming out very soon. So if you actually want to see how I made this Sky Factory, all those links will be down in the description below. Anyways, that's all I got for this video, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.